Let me ask you a question about Colby. So Dana, obviously he knows how to manipulate the press, and he's a good promo himself, and he knows how to bury people when he wants to. He kept going out there. Please tell me your point of view. I think I know what it is, but he's going out there and he was burying Colby for a long time. Yeah, we offered the fight to Colby 3 different times. He didn't want to take it. If he doesn't want to fight, say you don't want to fight. Like, why is he burying somebody he should be promoting? Was he trying to force him into a bad deal? What was going on there?
I love Dana. I respect Dana. I've known him a long time. I love what they do, but sometimes he's wrong, and he's just dead wrong on that. When Colby fought for the belt, he won the title. He was willing to do that fight down in Brazil, despite the death threats and everything that he had down there. They ended up moving it. The UFC ended up moving to Chicago on their own accord, not that long before the show was going to happen, instead of putting it down in Brazil. He won the title. He was scheduled to go in for surgery not that long thereafter. He had a sinus issue that he had to get fixed. He was only getting about 50% of his oxygen into his lungs through some blockage. And I mean, Colby's cardio is one of his biggest weapons. And the surgery was scheduled for like 5 days later. And they call up and they say, hey, we need him to fight on short notice. I think it was like 7 weeks on this pay-per-view. And he's like, I can't do it. I'm going to get surgery. I just won the belt. And they said, if he doesn't take the fight, we're going to strip him of the title. So that's kind of fucking ridiculous.
Let me ask you a question. When I hear stories like this, and me and Conan know, because we speak about things like this. And, Conan works for AAA, so he's like a top dog there, but he's not the owner. There's people above him and stuff. Do you think that Colby maybe is rubbing some people the wrong way besides Dana White, that we don't hear them stuff anything like, because it just seems like Colby, his marketability right now seems like common sense. The guy should be like, getting whatever fights he wants and everything, because he's like literally he's an A-list guy in MMA right now. But I don't think Dana dislikes Colby. I'm not talking about Dana. Do you think maybe there's maybe the owners don't like him?
No,
maybe they think he's bad press or something.
I don't think the guys above Dana, as far as like the IME Endeavor type guys, I don't think they really get that involved with it. I think they like Colby. I think Colby's a marketable guy. Whether you like him or hate him, people are going to care. And I think they hope Colby wins the belt December 14th when he fights for it. I just think Colby was wrong place, wrong time, because every now and then they have a card that falls apart. And if it's a pay-per-view or a big ESPN show or what have you, they get desperate at the last minute to find a headliner fight for that show. And if the guys that they target for that fight don't work with them and take the fight and help them out, sometimes they get pretty pissed.
Let me ask you a question.
And they do stuff. I think that's just what happened to Colby in that fight. I
read an article, and I don't know if the guy took it down and everything, but it was on Twitter, and then I read this, and then I couldn't find it anymore, right? One of these guys from the ESPN, or one of these big writers, MMA writers, was talking about how since UFC went to the ESPN deal, and because they're kind of like selling bundle memberships to like the pay, like you can buy like a year's worth of pay-per-views now and stuff, that the money that these fighters need isn't like you really have to fight hard to get it, because they don't have the money that they used to, because the pay-per-views aren't, it's a different pay-per-view model. And because they spent $4 billion buying the company and everything, and they kind of are looking to get their money back, that they kind of sold a lot of their they're selling the bundles. They get a whole year of pay-per-views for a certain price, and it's like a fighter wants to get his. It's like, well, hey, we don't have the money to give you. Are you running into that?
No, I'm not running into that. I mean, the UFC's always been tough negotiators. They're not going to pay any more than they have to. And I mean, hell, if I could pay my employees less money and they'd still be beating down the door to come and work for me, I'd probably pay them less as well. But I mean, the UFC, when they made that deal and they sold, I think there may have been some financial pressure at first on the company, because that was a pretty big nut that they had to finance and service the debt on. But man, since those guys have taken over the entity and what they've done with it since the purchase, they're rolling in dough right now. They renegotiated their TV contract and added like $150 million to the bottom line immediately. They made this pay-per-view deal with ESPN where I think they get paid on a certain number of pay-per-views regardless of how many they do. So I think UFC's rolling in dough right now.